Lights, camera, and action.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast.
Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimmy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared. And action movies so preposterously ludicrous that they defied the laws of common sense. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
All right. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. This is our last August double feature drive-in special. 2 movies. It's a lot doing 2 movies. You wouldn't think, but
yeah, no, it's a lot.
It's fun watching 2 movies.
It is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're just like, it's a lot of movies. It's a lot of movies.
Well, for our last one, we pick 2 big blockbusters of the 90s. Godzilla from 1998 and Independence Day from 1996. Both directed by the same man, Roland, oh, for frig's sake. Roland Emmerich?
Sounds right to me.
Sure. The king of disaster movies.
Yes.
If there's a disaster movie you liked in the 90s up to now, yeah, he probably did it.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Only a couple other people did them, but he did a lot of them. Here's a quick little reminder of the movies he did. Godzilla, Independence Day, The Day After Tomorrow. Oops. Moonfall. Fucking Moonfall. He didn't. Wow. He wrote 99 episodes of Stargate Atlantis.
Oh. One of my
this
favorites.
says based on a concept. No, there was 99 episodes. It was based on a concept by him.
Oh.
Okay, so no, he didn't write 99 episodes.
Oh, I guess he came up with Stargate Atlantis then.
Yeah.
Because there's only like 100 episodes.
And then he did The Patriot. He did Godzilla and Stargate. So he's Universal Soldier. So he's made some good. Well, he's made some movies. Actually, as some of his movies are not that great, but even the ones that aren't that great are always fun to watch.
Honestly, sometimes you've got to. Yeah. Just is it entertaining?
Stargate with Kurt Russell and James Spader. I love Stargate. Yeah.
Stargate was good.
I love Universal Soldier with Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Awesome.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I loved it.
All right. So what do you remember about Godzilla? What do you remember about Godzilla?
To be perfectly honest, not very much.
Oh, really?
I remember Mathew Broderick. That's pretty much like I don't remember a lot from this movie. And I know I watched it and I know I liked it. I could not tell you a good goddamn thing that happened.
I remember this movie started. I remember seeing a preview. I can't remember what movie I was watching, but I saw a preview of this.
Yeah.
A teaser. And it was, I can't remember if it was like October, September. And then it said coming next summer. And I was like, what? Why would you fucking show me that 9 or 10 months away from me being able to see it? And then I remember this movie got a lot of hate.
I remember it got a lot of hate. And I remember thinking to myself, I liked it. Like, what was wrong with it?
And Jimmy Page did this song. I can't remember what it was on the soundtrack. And it was huge because he did it with a rapper. And I went to a special IMAX showing of this where it was it 6 or 10 stories high? And there were different levels you can sit on to see this massive wraparound screen. It was, and I thought it was awesome. I could have just been shell shocked.
I mean, possibly
walked out with PTSD.
Also that.
But the Godzilla 1998 soundtrack, Wallflowers, Rage Against the Machine, Michael Penn, P. Diddy, and Jimmy Page did a song, Come With Me.
There you go.
And it was actually, I'm not a huge P. Diddy fan. I never really had, but if a song came on, I'm sure I would know it. But that song was pretty kick-ass. Yeah.
Mhm.
Days of the New, Foo Fighters. Yeah, that's back in the 90s. 90s soundtracks were incredible.
Wild.
Yeah. All right. Let us go to the box office for Godzilla. All right. With a budget of between 130 and 150 million, this had a domestic total of 136. This is back in 1998. It's a lot of money back in 1998.
A lot of money.
That's not a lot of recuperation, but it had an international total of 242.7. So 379, probably not what they were hoping for.
Yeah, no, they also had a really big marketing push because, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
like I remember seeing a lot of promotion for this movie for months beforehand.
Yeah.
And then I remember seeing it and really liking it. And I remember hearing the reviews of so many people hating on it. And I was like, why does everybody hate it? Like it was a Godzilla movie.
I'm wondering if that people just got sick of it.
Maybe.
It opened on a Tuesday, and by the end of the Memorial Day weekend, it had made $74.2 million. It remained number one for 3 weekends straight. It left the top 10 by its 7th week, but remained in limited amount of theaters for 32 weeks.
That's not bad, though.
Okay. Also, Godzilla was theatrically released on May 20th, 1998 to negative reviews and grossed $379 million worldwide against a production budget of around $130 to $150 million and marketing costs of $80 million.
Damn.
Wow. Becoming the third highest grossing film of 1998. Despite turning a profit, it was considered a box office disappointment. The DVD sold over 400,000 units in the United States by the end of 1998. It was also reported that NBC would pay around $25 million for the television broadcast rights in the States. So
not bad.
Yeah, and that was just 400,000 DVD sales at the end of 1998. So it obviously would have made a lot more. I own this at one point. Where it is, I don't know what happened to it.
I don't think I've ever owned it. Mainly because
soundtrack.
I walked out of the theater and I was like, I like that. Not crazy about it, but it was a Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
A
lot of the times back in the day, if I went to a movie theater and watched a movie, I'm like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't rent it when it came out. I bought it when it came out.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so that's probably how I ended up owning it. All right, let's go to the tail of the tape. Okay, there it is, the back of our DVD. There's Godzilla. Yeah, he had a huge head. May 19th, 1998 is considered a sci-fi action, PG-13, and comes in at a whopping 2 hours and 18 minutes.
That hurts my heart a little bit, not gonna lie. That's a long movie.
Yeah. Taglines. Size does matter.
Perfect.
Great tagline.
Yep.
The city that never sleeps just got a wake-up call.
I don't like that one.
Something big is happening.
I like that one.
1998, the year of Godzilla.
That's stupid.
From the creators of Independence Day.
That's not a tagline, sir.
Synopsis. During a nuclear test, the French government inadvertently mutates a lizard nest. Years later, a giant lizard makes its way to New York City. Dr. Nico Totopoulos, Mathew Broderick, an expert of the effects of radiation on animals, is sent by the U.S. government to study the beast. When the creature, dubbed Godzilla by news outlets, emerges, a massive battle with the military begins. To make matters worse, Nico discovers that Godzilla has laid a nest of 200 eggs, which are ready to hatch.
Oh, I forgot about the eggs.
Yeah, and here is our poster. It's from the creators of Independence Day. Godzilla, size does matter, and it's a big, giant Godzilla foot in New York. You can see the helicopters flying around, the tanks, the trucks, the
yellow cab.
Yeah, the yellow cab. Yeah, there it is.
Yellow cab.
It's a great poster.
It is. It's a really good poster. I am not mad at the poster.
Just the taglines.
Just the taglines. Some of them were good. Some of them were not.
All right. Let's go to Rotten Tomatoes. 150 critic reviews. This movie comes in at 20%.
Ouch.
It's a lot lower than I thought. 250,000 audience comes in at 28%.
That hurts my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Critic consensus. Without compelling characters or heart, Godzilla stomps on everything that made the original or any monster movie worth its salt a classic.
Interesting.
All right, let's start with the positive. You may start.
The 1998 Godzilla may be less beloved for its lighter tone and special effects, but it offers entertainment if you approach it with an open mind. Allison Rose, Flick Direct, 3.5 out of 5.
This is damn good aesthetic amusement. It's Alien and it's Jurassic Park and it's Starship Troopers. It's what we get now, and maybe we should be thankful for the simplification. Greg Burke, LA Weekly. Yeah. Yeah, just eat your popcorn and shut up, you morons. Give us your money.
You can't have everything, especially in the cinematic summer season. And when Emmerich and Dean are at their gleefully destructive best, you really don't want everything. Popcorn fun is more than enough. Allison Gilmore, Winnipeg Free Press, original score 3.5 out of 5.
Sounds more like PR. Like
honestly, this just sounds like someone who has watched a lot of movies, and she's like, this is not a deep and meaningful movie with wonderful dialogue that makes you think.
No. The film doesn't spare anything when it comes to special effects. That makes it fun to watch for a while. But the visual splash comes at the expense of everything else. Jeff Strickler, this is a good review. Jeff Strickler, Minneapolis Star Tribune, original score 3 out of 5.
The film's mighty overlong and at times a bit repetitive, but some astonishing special effects will make you believe that a genderless giant can trash that. Let me try that again. The film's mighty overlong and at times a bit repetitive, but some astonishing special effects will make you believe that a genderless giant can trash a great city. Quentin Falk, Sunday Mirror, UK. Sir, you use more punctuation, please.
Yeah. Genderless. It lays eggs. Isn't it a girl?
I don't know. Is it one of those? Some reptiles don't have a sex. Is that right?
Worms.
I don't know.
Whenever this sleek, streamlined Godzilla is whipping through the canyons of Manhattan at 60 miles per hour, the movie is a hoot. When I didn't read this. Says hobo. When I'm like, well, that's rude. He's not gay. When Homo sapiens rule, it's a snore. Robert W. Butler, Kansas City Star, original score 2.5 out of 4. And who cares if Godzilla's gay, Robert? Come on.
What is wrong with you?
All right, let's go to the rotten. You may start.
This Zilla is no thriller. The only thing huge about it is the size of its failure, with monsters straight out of Jurassic Park, yawn, a plot thinner than the butter topping on popcorn, and mailed in acting by the cast. Peter Howell, Toronto Star, 1 out of 5.
Ouch.
Canadian said that. So mean.
Yeah. Ouch, from a Canadian. Jesus.
I know.
Character counts, and Godzilla is a negative number. Donna Bowman, Nashville scene.
Was she expecting some character development from Godzilla?
The original movies had a guy in a rubber suit stomp on models.
This one is made of CGI. What the? Did she expect to have insights into its deeper into its soul?
Yeah,
Jeez.
Godzilla's gonna crack out some poems. Is this me or you?
I think
me.
This is
you.
Me.
This is you.
Is this me? Okay.
Yeah.
How do you screw up Squish and ARG? By spending more than $100 million on marvelous special effects, another $50 million on a brilliant marketing campaign, and then forgetting to invest any money on a logical script. That's how. Gary Dretzka, Chicago Tribune, 2 out of 4. It was $80 million on brilliant marketing campaign.
Yeah, it was 80. Yeah. The makers of Godzilla obviously devoted so much manpower and time and energy and money to the admittedly fabulous special effects that they apparently had no budget left over for actors. Whew. Michael Sullivan, Washington Post.
But did they even need really good actors?
Not really.
Mathew Broderick is good.
I like Mathew Broderick.
I like him too.
I think Jean Reno.
Jean Reno, yeah.
I like him too.
I like him too. And then Hank Azaria is apparently in this.
Yeah,
and
Hank Azaria. Yeah.
Yes, size does matter. And Godzilla is just too darn long. Like the critter itself, the movie's bulk simply overwhelms its tiny brain. Bill Dupre, News and Observer, 2 out of 4.
The movie is breathtaking. Oh, sorry. No, that's wrong. The movie is breathtakingly unfunny and unscary. It just sits there, zombie-eyed, spittle dribbling down its chin. Chris Garcia, Austin American Statesman, 1.5 out of 4.
That was funny.
I'm like, maybe I got the wrong review. Nope, I did not.
Nope. The overall effect is about as scary as an out-of-control street parade float.
That's a good
Lee
one.
Patch, Harold Sun, 1 out of 5.
You have to absorb such a film, not consider it. But my brain rebelled and insisted on applying logic where it was not welcome. Roger Ebert, Chicago Sun-Times, 1.5 out of 4.
Damn, Ebert.
And they just kept going on. There was a lot of them. There was 150 reviews. 10 or 15 were positive, and the rest were pretty much just that. IMDb. They like it more, don't they? 204,000 user ratings, has it at, not impressive by any stretch, but much better than Rotten Tomatoes, 5.4 out of 10.
In comparison.
Yeah, in comparison,
much better.
All right, you may start.
I've had enough. All right, I've had enough. Godzilla was a great movie, and I'm just sick and tired of all the critics and others who view the movie as a complete disaster due to its lack of a story and other problems. 10 out of 10, agony.
Yeah.
I feel like agony's a little confused.
Yeah. Did it have a crappy story? Yes. Were the actors horrible? Yes. Were there a ton of other problems? Yes. Does that make it a bad movie?
That's amazing.
It is fun to read the comments. 9 out of 10. Eon. And he's right. These comments were fun.
Enjoy a lovely hunk of cheese. 8 out of 10. And Helen Ripley, 112.
Not great, but not as bad as it's been described. 7 out of 10. Tabuno.
Deeply flawed. Kind of a guilty pleasure. 6 out of 10. The Little Songbird.
It was great when I was 10. 5 out of 10. T. Gulliver.
Amazing.
That's kind of what I'm afraid of.
I'm totally afraid of that too. Yeah. The movie sucks. Period. Hillary Saroff, 4 out of 10.
Brains matter too. 3 out of 10. The Czar 2.
Oh my God. A 20-foot giant lizard can disappear in New York City. 2 out of 10. Smells like cheese.
That's right. They lose it in New York City.
Yeah.
And it's huge. Yeah. That's kind of, now I'm worried.
Yeah.
Like hot, bitter asparagus pea in your face. 1 out of 10. Justin Slattery 1. Like hot, bitter asparagus pea in your face. That was his review.
Wow.
Whew. Uh-oh. Well, no, I'm not about the movie. I'm now conflicted. I remember liking it, and now I'm starting to remember I was a bit of an idiot when it comes to some movies.
Well, here's my thing, because when it comes to movies like this, I am not looking for a plot. I am not looking for a story. I'm looking for characters who are serviceable to the monster, the action, whatever. So as long as they don't screw that up too much.
And Godzilla wrecks a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, if you keep me entertained and your Godzilla is like a monster, cool. Let's keep it moving. I will probably like this movie.
Yeah.
But now I'm terrified about how shitty it really is.
Well, let's watch the trailer and make our prediction.
this is 7 November Golf. The target's heading right at us. He's too fast. Panamanian government evidence of passengers dead or alive. Please stand by. He's slowing down. Thing's only 200 miles off the eastern American seaboard. We don't even know what the hell it is.
Well, they did the trailer right. They didn't show a lot of Godzilla.
They didn't, but what they did show, I was like, if that's the
It looked a little,
if that's the pacing of Godzilla,
yeah,
I'm not gonna like this movie.
yeah.
I'm so nervous now.
All right. Well, what's your prediction?
I don't think I'm gonna like it. I want to
Now-
like it because I used to like it, but I don't think I'm gonna like it.
Some of the destruction looked pretty cool. I think I'd rather watch the making of. Like it looked like
Yeah.
a lot of work, especially in New York. It looked like a lot of work went into this movie. So that I would love to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's like really slow like that, I'm hoping it's not. I do kind of remember where Godzilla is running through the streets chasing
Yeah.
helicopters. So I'm hoping it has a brisker pace. And this was just to kind of tease everyone.
Well, it also just sucks because they were like, it's moving too fast when it was on the ship.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then I'm watching it take a leisurely stroll through Manhattan, and I'm like, I thought
Well,
it
he
was
just got there.
fast. He was doing a little sightseeing.
Yeah, start spreading the news. That's all he did. He put his little hat on. All right.
Okay.
Well, we are going to watch our first movie, Godzilla. And when we get back, we are going to review it.
Go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And now, on with the show.
Because that whole thing is like, we remember liking it. And then we read the
The
reviews.
reviews, and we were like,
We're like, huh. And then we
I'm
watched the
questioning my
preview.
choices.
It's like,
I saw my face. I was watching
Yeah,
the
you
preview,
didn't
and I
look
saw my
impressed
face,
at
and I was
all.
like, oh God. Apparently, I'm psychic.
all right. Now let's see if I plug in my headphones and the whole thing goes to shit again.
So far, nothing's happened.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay. All right. So give me one moment here. I have to find my to redo
worries.
everything here. All right, we don't have to play Let's All Go to the Lobby.
No.
We'll do that after the Independence Day one.
It sounds good
All
to me.
All right. So this will be for the podcast. Welcome back, everyone. Now, did you watch Godzilla 1998?
Yes, I did.
What was your initial thoughts?
Have you ever heard of radio play?
The band?
No.
Oh.
No, like an actual radio play like they used to do in the 30s and the 40s.
Oh, yeah. Those are
Where-
cool, actually.
Yeah, those are super cool. But you know how everybody performs in them. Like you have to be exaggerated, over the top. Like it has to be an extreme because nobody can see your face. Nobody can
Yep.
see facial expressions, that kind of thing. So you have to really like drive it home with the voice. This movie felt like they were doing a radio play because my God, the acting. I was cool with the Godzilla parts. Godzilla killed it in this movie. I was all in for Godzilla. It's everybody else that sucked balls.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
I don't know who wrote this, but they need to like retire.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
My initial thought, I didn't hate the movie. I bought the movie. I got a deal. I bought it for like $5 or $6.
Okay.
Did you rent or buy it?
I rented
Okay.
because I was like, no matter how cute Mathew Broderick is, I have a feeling I'm not gonna love it.
Yeah. My 6-year-old, I watched it with my 6-year-old. My 6-year-old liked it for a while. And then an hour, 10 minutes, she was like, I'm going to go play Mario Wonder, the new Super Mario game. Then came back and finished what she liked the little Godzillas a bit. And near the end was like, did they just shoot the dinosaur? She called it was a dinosaur.
Yeah, that's fine.
I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, that was rude. And that was how I felt about this movie. I didn't hate it.
No.
If I hadn't watched it, I think I would have been fine with my memory of watching it on a giant 6-story screen that wrapped around the whole auditorium. But I don't know. Like
I got
10
bored.
years,
To be perfectly honest, I got bored.
yeah, and like 10 years from now, I'll be like, should I watch Godzilla? I don't know.
That's when you look for this. You look for this podcast and you hear these words and you say, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah. Like maybe I'll watch the 2014 one instead because I remember that one being good too.
Well, now I want to make my way through the Godzillas because I remember watching an older one and really liking it, but I think it's because they didn't try to make us like the characters, like the human characters. They were literally just accessories to Godzilla. And I was like, why didn't they do that here? It felt like Godzilla was the accessory.
Yeah. And I just watched Godzilla Minus One. Well, actually a few weeks ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie he made it for less than $15 million. And when you're watching it, you're like, Hollywood's got to take a step back because they're spending like $200 million. This guy did. If you watch the movie, one, it's a Godzilla movie. It's in Japan and everything, but it's really well done. And it looks unbelievable. Like
I will look it up and
it's on Netflix now.
Is it on Netflix now?
Yeah.
Cool. I will look it up.
But when I watched this movie, there were parts where it just seemed like it was going over the same plot points, the same.
Yeah.
Themes,
they stretched everything out. And
it didn't have to be this long.
It did not. It did not. Also, because there were so many, not really sub stories, but kind of sub stories. I was like, you guys are taking away from like the main thing. Like you have Godzilla in Manhattan. You have the military, you have the scientists. You don't need anything else. We don't need the journalist. We don't need the camera guy and his wife and all of their friends and the neighborhood. We don't need that.
No.
Yeah, it's not 1989.
Yeah. All right, let's go over this movie.
We're so excited.
All right. An iguana nest is exposed to a fallout of a military nuclear test in French Polynesia in the South Pacific Ocean. A Japanese cannery vessel, this is much later after all the nuclear stuff, is suddenly attacked by a giant creature with only one fisherman surviving. Love the opening. Government experiments, cover-ups, conspiracy, the whole.
But even that could have been shorter.
Yeah, it was long. It was a long opening.
It was really, really long. And you just keep seeing the lizards and then scientists and then the little mushroom cloud, nuclear mushroom. And I'm like, and it was over and over and over. And I was like, I get it. You didn't need to do all of, because it was almost repetitive. It wasn't like there was one story. Well, it was one story that they were telling. They just told it like 3 times during the credits. And I was like, couldn't you have made it continuous? Like,
Yeah.
and they were using stock footage too. And I was like, guys, pay for the actors to look at each other, look at clipboards, but anyways, it was way too long. It was way too fucking long.
The attack on the fishing boat was fine. It was good. Like just as good as today.
Also super impressed with the money that they saved on that by having nobody talk.
Yeah.
Somehow, damn it. I think there was one person who said one line. But explain to me how an entire fishing boat, a cannery fishing boat, not one person utters one word.
No,
There were random screams.
Holy
but
shit or
holy shit. Get to safety. The warning, anything. Nothing. Nobody said nothing. But I'm like, hey guys, way to keep them extras. That's amazing.
Dr. Nick Tatopoulos, an NRC scientist, is in the Chernobyl exclusion zone researching the effects of radiation on wildlife, worms, but is interrupted by an official from the U.S. State Department who has come to pick him up for a special assignment. Meanwhile, in Tahiti, a mysterious Frenchman questions the traumatized survivor over what he witnessed, who repeatedly replies, Gojira. Nick is sent to Panama and Jamaica to study a trail of wreckage leading to another cannery ship with massive claw marks on it. So far, not bad. Like, so far.
Yeah. I liked the introduction of Dr. Nico.
Yeah.
He's a quirky little scientist who listens to a Walkman, and he listens to show tunes. Yay. Singing in the Rain. Classic. Also, very poetic because it's raining. I was concerned about his lack of protective gear. But I mean, yeah, I'm like, you're literally studying radioactive earthworms. Maybe wear some gloves.
Yeah, some gloves.
Maybe safety goggles. Something. But anyways, I like the introduction of him. This was all very promising.
Yep.
I was not super, I was like, okay, so great. We're meeting Mathew Broderick. We've seen the attack on the cannery boat. Now he's being whisked away to Panama. Standing in the footprint, the ginormous footprint, amazing. Him inspecting the cans of tuna. He's making connections. I'm like, this is just fine. I was like, I don't know why people are mad about this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And like my 6-year-old is watching with me, looking at the footprints, and she starts putting it together. And she's like, oh shit, that's a big footprint, yo. That's how she talks now.
Does she actually? That's amazing.
No, she
damn it.
Nick identifies skin examples he discovered in the shipwreck as belonging to an unknown species. He dismisses the military's theory of the creature being a living dinosaur, instead deducing it is a mutant created by nuclear testing. The creature travels to New York City, leaving a path of destruction in its wake. The introduction of Godzilla to New York was great.
Yes, I love that. Also, I'm very concerned for Joe. Did he make it?
Who?
Joe the fisherman.
Oh, yeah, I don't think so. He might have.
I want him to make it, okay? He looked like he was about to get to like solid land. I was like, this is what you get for fishing, I guess, in the Hudson.
And those old guys making fun of him.
Yeah. That was also great scene. I was like, but also if he was a very seasoned fisherman, he would have at least had an umbrella, like a chair with an umbrella with him. Instead, he just had that. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. I'm not going to get mad about it.
But maybe a little underplayed, because when it came to the amount of destruction, and most likely the lives he took just walking around, like Independence Day, which we'll get into, unless you're listening to it as a separate podcast, the destruction is massive, and the movie Independence Day reacted as such. Godzilla was like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, there's
giant lizard.
It's super weird how this is why I say Godzilla felt like an accessory to the
Yeah.
rest of the movie. Because it was like there's massive destruction.
Yeah, because he's
And
going through buildings, and I'm pretty sure there are people in those buildings.
yeah, he's got like cutouts
Yeah.
of him going through buildings. Like Scooby-Doo kind of characters,
And
Hanna-Barbera.
the tempo of this movie, you should have saw like arms. Like it should have looked like Wile E.
Yes.
Coyote, because that's how silly this movie kind of portrayed itself at times.
Honestly, I would have preferred that. 'Cause
That
at
would
one
have been
point,
awesome.
I saw a Godzilla size, and I use that term lightly, hole, but I was like, Godzilla's bigger than that.
Yeah.
Like I was like that, and the hole didn't even go all the way to the ground.
No,
And
it's
then
like
I
you
was like,
jump through it.
how is this building still stand? I'm like, I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
It's
It
so
looks cool, but
it looks cool.
it made no sense whatsoever.
It made zero, and not even it didn't make sense in like a good way, because you know how some stuff doesn't make sense, but because it's like the science stuff or it's but I'm like, I can understand giant lizard walking through a building. Like I can figure that out. This is not complicated. This is not physics. This is just basic physical. It's a giant lizard walking through a building. So I know what the hole for that would look like. Because
Yeah.
it's the same thing as anybody else walking through a building, walking through a door, walking through a window. You know the generic shape. I was like, why is it so narrow? And so I'm like, I feel like there should be more destruction.
Yeah. Yeah, because people were more upset about not being allowed back into Manhattan.
Oh, buddy. When
Like,
that
I don't
happened,
give
I'm
a-
like, there's still a giant lizard running around and you want to go back? What?
Yeah, they're like, I don't give
To
a
do
shit
what?
about a giant iguana. I need to feed my cat. my mom needs her meds. Like it seemed weird that they didn't, like, usually in a movie,
Yeah.
the people would be terrified, and like, yeah, this was
There
just kind of
there is a point later on in the movie where Mathew Broderick needs to buy something and he goes into a store. And my very first thought was, there's a fucking drugstore open in the middle of Manhattan while a giant lizard is running around destroying it.
that swam to get there, so it could very easily
Yeah.
swim out of there.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was
And
very
when stuff like
odd.
that, if Dr. Nico had just broken into a drugstore and taken some of what he needed, we'll get to that. We'll have that conversation in a hot minute. But then it would make sense.
Yeah.
But having someone working the counter, I was like,
Yeah, she's like,
"Well,
hey,
they
how's it going?
evacuated it." Yeah. Like, no big deal. What's up? Giant
this
lizard,
weather?
crazy, right?
How about that
much
lizard over
rain.
the river there?
Also,
Yeah.
the effects. I just want to highlight this because during Godzilla's reign of destruction through Manhattan after he comes up out of the water, I want to say this, Godzilla himself, very well done.
Yeah, I wasn't overly mad about the Godzilla part.
No, Godzilla was very well done. The rain effect
No.
looked like shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, now you've ruined it because Godzilla looks great, but the rain looks like somebody stood there with a pencil and was like, ding, 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 ding.
Probably did.
Anyways.
The city is evacuated before the U.S. military, on Nick's advice, lure the creature into revealing itself with a large pile of fish. Their attempt to kill it fails, however, and only causes further damage before it escapes. Again, I like the helicopter chase and the Godzilla turns the tables until you're like, well, what changed here? Did Godzilla forget he was a giant monster lizard and could swat and just eat those helicopters? Like, oh yeah, I'm a freaking giant monster. Silly me. And then he just started chasing the helicopters. This kind of dumb. It looked really cool though.
It looked really cool.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely one of those where like Godzilla's like, I'm just gonna go about my business. And I mean, if I crush some people, I crush some people. Whatever. And then that's when the military, when they lured him with the fish and he got shot at, he's like, God damn these bitches. So he went to go set it up where he's like, now I'm gonna show you what I can do because y'all are annoying me. And I respect that. I respect that. Godzilla is a smart little asshole, big asshole. But yeah, no, it was It was the one super clever thing that Godzilla did.
Yeah.
And it made me sad that it was the one clever thing that Godzilla, other than that, it's just straight destruction. So I feel like either they should have had straight destruction straight through, or Godzilla like playing chess with all these motherfuckers and being like, I'm gonna fuck you all up.
Yeah. Nick collects a blood sample. Here we go. And by performing a pregnancy test, discovers the creature reproduces asexually and is collecting food for its offspring. This we get the drugstore.
Yeah, the drugstore. He's like, I want a pregnancy test. She's like, well, I have all of these. I'll take them all. And they cost him $46 for 6 pregnancy tests. I was like, damn, inflation.
Yeah. Nick also meets up with his ex-girlfriend, Audrey Timmons, a young, aspiring news reporter. While she visits him, she uncovers a classified tape in his provisional military tent concerning the monster's origins and turns it over to the media. Totally 90s. She knew it was wrong, did it to further her career, but felt really bad. This was the 90s.
I will say this. We are introduced to Audrey first through pictures.
Earlier, and pictures at the beginning.
And then scenes of her at work with her best friend, with the camera guy, Victor, who is married to her best friend.
And the news guy
and the news guy who, can I get a pillow or something? And he like pushes himself up. So like you get an introduction to the characters and you see how terrible everybody's a caricature though.
Yeah.
Everybody's just over the top and ridiculous. And I think this is when I was like, it feels like a radio play. Like you can just act. Like you don't have to make it ridiculous. But they did. And like some of it was kind of funny. The short man syndrome that the news anchor has. I'm like, I mean, valid. Because he's a wee little thing. And then, Audrey having trouble at work. Cool.
Then having to do sexual favors to get you promotion.
To get ahead. Yeah. Come to dinner. You promised me. And it's like, yes, I'll come to dinner. It's great. It's like, you're married. It's just dinner. No, it's not, you perv. So you get the introduction to them. So then by the time she steals Anchorman's press pass or press credentials to sneak in to talk to Nico, then she's all like, hey, he's like, do you want some tea? She's like, yeah, okay. They have some tea. And then he has to walk away for something. I don't remember what. And that's when she steals the tape that's marked top secret that she watches. He's gone for a while. And then she steals it. And she puts together her own like news reel of it and does her own story, which then gets swiped by the anchor with shortman syndrome.
Yeah. And then you're supposed to feel sorry. Like my 6-year-old brought up a good point. She's like, so this bimbo will fuck over the only guy she ever loved to get ahead, but won't give that douche a blowjob at the dinner to further her career. Like, what the fuck?
I'm sure that's exactly what your 6-year-old said.
I'm like, whoa, I didn't write it. She hopes to have her report put on TV. Yeah, here we go. Put on TV to launch her career, but her boss, Charles Kamen, uses the tape to his report, declaring it his own discovery and dubs the creature Godzilla.
Mm-hmm. And she corrects him because she's watching it in a bar. And she's like, and it's Godzilla.
Yeah. As a result of the tape's disclosure, Nick is removed from the operation and he disowns Audrey before being kidnapped by the mysterious Frenchman Philippe Rocher. I like the French guys in this. I know they're so dumb.
The coffee jokes.
The coffee jokes, the donuts, the croissants.
Yeah, it literally, it was like, le croissant?
Yeah.
And the guy's like, huh? Sorry. Yeah. He's like, fine. And then he takes a sip of the coffee and he's like, what is it? He's like, this, I literally wrote it down because I was like, that's amazing. Oh, you call this coffee? And the other guy's like, I call this America.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you've been to continental Europe, okay, I'm not including the UK in this because they're still discovering their coffee. And the best coffee you can get in the UK is from Australians. But in continental Europe, like you can't get coffee like you get it here in North America. It doesn't compare.
Yeah. No, you have to go to a place that where it sells like the beans. You have to go and crush it, and you have to. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
It's like they're actually starting to do like ground coffee now and like drip coffee. It's
Yeah.
starting to become more prevalent for at home, but you can't just walk in and be like,
No.
I'd like a coffee and have it be like American coffee. So when you're used to the European standard of coffee and then you try North American coffee, you're like, what is this dirty water you're serving me? I miss European coffee. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I will not. I now buy Nespresso. Can't even pronounce it. It's their new machine, and it does. You actually get coffee from all different places, and it's only available in certain times of the year because they only do the pods in season.
Yeah.
So if it's not in season, you cannot get those pods. And it is. And it sounds snobbish, but it's such a difference. And this isn't even like grounding yourself. This is just still pods, but it is such a difference. Like I don't even want like Tim Hortons is such shit now.
No, it is shit.
I'll still do Starbucks. I'll still do Tim Hortons. I'll still do Dunkin' if that's my choice. But yeah, I prefer the Nespresso.
Yeah. When the pandemic started, I was like, this is not going to work. Like I need to be able to get good coffee at home. So I bought myself an espresso machine and I was like, best decision I have ever made in my life. And there's just something like the coffee is really good.
Yeah.
It's made properly. You can get the little milk frother, which is not big enough for me. I need the bigger milk frother, but also because my milk just over froths. And I'm like, I'm trying to get a latte going, guys. Not enough milk. Anyways.
Yeah, the French guy. Yeah, I did. Yeah,
yeah,
they were great, and I like when they put the gum in their mouth.
Yeah,
to look more American.
What's with the gum? It's to look more American, and they're both chewing it like cows.
Very
aggressively,
aggressively,
like cows, very aggressively. And Mathew Broderick's just like, "Let me do the talking."
They were.
Philippe.
Go ahead.
Philippe ends up saying one thing, and he's like, "Elvis Presley."
Yeah. Revealing himself as an agent of the French Secret Service, Philippe explains that he and his colleagues have been closely watching the events to cover up their country's role in the nuclear testing that created Godzilla. Yeah, every government is the same. They're all pieces of shit. Suspecting a nest somewhere in the city, they cooperate with Nick to trace and destroy it. Meanwhile, Godzilla resurfaces and dives into the Hudson River to evade a second attempt by the military to kill it, where it is attacked by Navy submarines. And again, they're doing it's the same thing. They're trying with the fish and trying to get it. And he's in the subway, and they keep going back to the subway, the tunnels and stuff. Yeah, it felt like a lot of the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah, they could have cut out like literally half of that.
Oh yeah, they could have cut half an hour from this movie.
And it 100%.
Probably been a lot better.
Yeah. Because after a while, you're just like, oh yeah, they're still chasing the big giant lizard that they can't seem to find.
Yeah, because I looked at, I didn't have a watch on, but I'm like, okay, when like pausing it to see where it was, and that's not a good sign when you're watching a movie.
Yeah, no, not a good sign at all.
So they try to bring a fish with hiding, and yeah, the monster is hiding. It's 100. I looked it up, and this Godzilla is portrayed as 180 feet mutated lizard. That's huge.
Look, Manhattan's not that big.
No,
it's
and
not.
This giant fucking monster is running around hiding.
Jesus.
And then took the time to go lay a nest in Madison Square Garden.
Apparently,
no one saw the thing bent over taking a dump.
Apparently, nobody checked Madison Square Gardens. They were just like, I'm sure he's out here somewhere, just roaming around, maybe getting a cup of coffee, reading the newspaper.
And it went through the ground. Like they showed it digging through the ground, but buildings should have been dropping all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Like those Looney Tune cartoons when the farmer or Elmer Fudd and the carrots are being sucked out under the ground.
But especially because half of these buildings are missing half of the buildings.
Yeah.
So there should have been, because it becomes unstable. Because he literally tunneling straight through subway tunnels, through ground, through everything. And I'm like, guys.
Yeah.
how does the top level not show anything? Like, not even a tremor or something. I'm like, that would have caused earthquakes or something. You would have felt it.
Yeah. Yeah, then the submarine goes after it. Like the film, like maybe they're scratching their heads and like, what do we do now to entertain these fucking mooks watching? After colliding with torpedoes, Godzilla sinks, believed to be dead by the authorities. Nick and Philippe's team, followed by Audrey and her cameraman Victor, yes, because he tells her, well, maybe you can get him back by filming him finding these eggs and then show him that he was right and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They find the nest inside Madison Square Garden with over 200 eggs. Before long, the eggs begin to hatch, and the strike team are attacked by the offsprings. Yes, the French were very unprepared.
They were not ready. Jean-Pierre, Jean-Claude,
A lot of Jeans.
Jean-Philippe.
They were all Jeans.
They were all Jeans. There was
I think that's in the trivia.
Philippe Rocher, and then all you hear is, what happened to Jean-Philippe and Jean-Pierre? I was like,
Yeah.
Really? You're not going to give them any other names? And then the other guy is Jean-Philippe. And I was like, you can't. There's Jean-Claude, Jean-Pierre, and then Jean-Philippe.
Yeah,
there was also a Jean-Luc.
I hope he did it on purpose. It's like the writer didn't even try. And I love this scene with the hatching. I loved it when I watched Jurassic Park.
Yes.
It was okay to see it again here. Jurassic Park did it better, but this was okay.
True.
And
but it was a good scene.
It was a good scene, yeah.
Yeah.
And the actress, the one that played Audrey.
Yeah.
She was not great. Pretty, yes, but like some of the actors were reacting to Godzilla or these little Godzillas in horror, and she was just standing there like with a smile on her face. And
there's a lot about like her character especially. I was like, I don't know if this was the actor's choice or if it was the director's choice or if it was some drunk guy standing off to the side on set's choice. But I was like, why are you playing this girl like she's straight off the farm from Kansas?
Yeah.
Actually, no, I take that back. Because a girl straight off the farm from Kansas would have a little more gumption. Yeah. She wouldn't be such a moron. Also, she wouldn't be running through life being like, oh my God, it's totally fine. I mean, I don't know why he's so mad at me for stealing stuff and getting him fired off of like what could be possibly the biggest project of his life. I mean, why would he be mad?
And I know there isn't a real giant lizard there when you're acting. Maybe it's a set guy with a hat that says I'm Godzilla.
It's usually a tennis ball.
Yeah. But you can pretend, like act.
Yeah.
Like it is.
Do something.
Yeah. Nick, Animal, Audrey, and Philippe take refuge in the garden's broadcast booth and successfully send out a live news report to alert the military. I hate using Jurassic Park here, but they were terrified when the raptors were hunting them. This was almost sitcom-ish shenanigans going on. And like Philippe is like, well, we better skedaddle.
Honestly, Philippe, I kind of understand being cool, calm, and collected.
He is a secret agent. Yeah.
Yes. Him, sure. Everybody else should have been losing their fucking shit.
Yeah, I would.
Not being like, oh, hey, yeah, no, you're fine. Yeah, you're on the air. You're cool.
Tripping people so the Godzillas will eat them. Throwing children at them. A prompt response involving an airstrike is initiated as the four escape moments before the Air Force bombed the arena.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was cool looking, but again, you cannot be that close with a missile strike and that big of an explosion
and survive. Walk away. No injuries at all.
Barely an inconvenience.
Can we talk about how the little like baby Godzillas are terrified apparently of falling chandeliers?
Oh yeah. They all get nothing else scares them, but
nothing else scares them. But a chandelier falls. They're like, oh my God, what is this? 3-4 times in a row, because it's like 3 or 4 chandeliers that get knocked down. Each time, they all back off.
Yeah.
Because apparently they can't learn since the first one.
Yeah. Audrey and Nick reconcile before the adult Godzilla, having survived, emerges from the garden's ruins. Enraged by the death of its brood, it takes its rage out on the four, chasing them across Manhattan in a taxi. Again, I like the scene in Jurassic Park Lost World when the T-Rex chases them. It was okay here too.
It was
movie
fine.
borrowed a lot from fucking Jurassic Park. Oh, it was more intense Jurassic Park too.
Yeah.
And really, you're 180 feet. You breathe fire. What's the problem? They get stuck in a tunnel?
Did Godzilla actually breathe fire, or did it just breathe the fire towards people, like not actually produce the fire?
Maybe. I was copying pasting a bunch of that might be in trivia, and I can't remember.
Yeah, because
maybe it doesn't breathe fire.
Because the first one looked like it was breathing fire, and then I was like, wait a second, Godzilla breathes fire? So I rewound and I watched the scene again, and I was like, no, there's already fire, and it just breathes. And I was like, oh, okay, pushing the fire.
Yeah.
And then the second time, it looked like it was breathing fire. I rewound. It still looked like it was breathing fire. I was like, so is that a thing Godzilla does?
Yeah.
Very confusing.
And because Godzilla's trying to grab them, I'm like, you dig through rock and tunnels. Like, what is the problem?
You dug through the entirety of the underside of Manhattan.
Yeah.
You can't open up a tunnel to get in there?
Yeah. They're outrunning you in a car. You're 180 foot tall fucking.
Right.
What's wrong with you? I get you have to throw all the cannon you created early out the window if you do this scene, but you don't. Yeah, I guess you don't want to kill all the main characters.
I mean, in theory.
They managed to trap Godzilla within the suspension cables of the Brooklyn Bridge, allowing the returning Air Force to strike it down with missiles. Dude shrugged off missiles from helicopters, tanks, torpedoes from the submarines, and the cables get him. And actually, this looks fine. It looked like an animal getting caught up.
Yeah.
But you think the missiles would have made more of an impact. Godzilla looked like he got shot by Dirty Harry, like with a couple bullet holes in him. And all the stuff that happened, I'm like, really? Did it? The other missiles didn't do it? He got torpedoed.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And survive with just a few scratches.
Yeah. Godzilla collapses to the ground where the taxis smash under its jaw and slowly dies from its mortal wounds. And the remaining citizens and authorities celebrate. Audrey tells Cayman that she quits working for him after what he has done before leaving with Nick. Philippe taking a tape that Animal is recording and promising to return after removing certain contents. Thanks, Nick, for his help and parts ways. Meanwhile, in the ruins of Madison Square Garden, a single surviving egg hatches and the hatchling roars to life. But a sequel is not meant to be.
No, thank God.
That is our movie. What is your score?
My score is skip it. Okay, look, if it's streaming for free and you have almost 2.5 hours to kill and you have a very interesting book and this is literally just background noise, by all means, put this thing on. But the movie is overly long. The acting is terrible.
Yeah.
The writing is not good either. Godzilla, who is the title character, is an afterthought in this. And they don't even do it well. Like,
no.
It drove me nuts because I'm like, this doesn't feel like a Godzilla movie. This feels like a shitty soap opera that just has a monster running around in the background. And that angered me because if I'm watching Godzilla, I'm watching Godzilla. Godzilla should be the focus of the movie.
Yeah.
Instead, it was all of these random stories of people in New York with so much missing logic for basic stuff. If you're going to evacuate New York, nobody should be there. Like, get them. If people are going to be at the tunnel from New Jersey trying to get back into Manhattan, then why is there a pharmacist just working the counter at the drugstore in the middle of this giant lizard trashing everything? I think there's, like, yes, you have to suspend your disbelief for certain things because it'll help the story flow. The simple fact is they put too much. It was very repetitive. The acting was subpar, which hurts my heart because there are a lot of really great actors in here.
Yeah.
There were some great moments. The Frenchies made me happy. I like them. They were great.
They're probably my favorite part of the movie.
My favorite part too. Give me a movie of them. That's who I want to see.
Yeah.
Mathew Broderick was fine. He can only go so far with what he's given. But I mean, everybody else was just a caricature, kind of over the top, underdeveloped, and I'm just like, and I didn't get enough Godzilla. Yeah, Godzilla was not the focus of this movie, so it defeated the purpose for me. So I say skip it, just because it's almost 2.5 hours of not enough.
Yeah.
That's it. Just 2.5 hours of not enough. And sometimes too much of the wrong things. What are your thoughts?
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I didn't like it or overly like it. I don't know. The destruction and the effects, for the most part, was really good. But this movie felt like it was trying to be a Godzilla movie without being a Godzilla movie. Like, we're going to make something better here. We're going to improve on the source material, which is great. It pulled off. They did not. They usually don't. Not too many people pull that off. The 2014 one did a much better job. The first Godzilla, which is weird because it's also in the trivia, the first Godzilla movie I ever watched was Godzilla 1985 with Raymond Burr. And it was part of a series of all these movies that introduced me to these fantasy sci-fi worlds. And it was fun. And it was far from perfect, but it was fun. The effects, I can only imagine what they would look like now. But again, it was fun. And this movie had moments. And that's why, I don't know if I would watch this again. I really don't. Even though I bought it. But aside from the effects being top notch, some of the acting a lot of it was dialed in. The French people, like you said, that was great. Some out of place, like this much destruction and the silliness of all the responses. It went back and forth and trying to be serious and trying not to take itself serious, and it didn't work. Too much comedy, not enough seriousness. I'm not sure what the right mixture should be, but they didn't get the mixture right either. And by the end, Sergeant O'Neill is sitting on a couch giving orders. The fuck is that? Audrey is looking at her nails while others are looking off in horror. People don't seem to give a shit that a giant monster is running around the city. They just want back in. This was like a 90s Friends meets Jurassic Park.
I mean, valid.
I'm going to say, yeah, if you remember liking this movie, keep the memory. Skip it. I would skip it. Because there are some great set pieces, some great effects, and some comical moments, but it's just too much.
It has moments, but not enough to warrant 2.5 hours of a movie.
I can only say that if you're a Roland Emmerich fan and want to see him destroy New York with a giant lizard instead of aliens or global warming, maybe give it don't spend money on it. Don't take it serious. This movie doesn't, probably when it should have. I think that was the problem. Yeah, I would skip it. Save that memory.
I feel like this movie, I don't know if it happened at the script stage or on set, sometime during rehearsals or in editing, it lost focus. Yeah. It lost focus, and it feels like it lost focus. I can handle a stupid movie as long as the purpose of the movie is clear.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you notice the mayor and his assistant?
Yeah.
It was more of a revenge for Siskel and Ebert.
Oh.
Their names were actually Gene and Roger. And they actually gave the thumbs up when he was giving his speech because those two have lambasted all of his movies since like Stargate. And Independence Day, they both hated it, and
I mean, makes sense.
Congratulations. You just had one of your childhood movie memories vindicated. Or they just eviscerated it. I don't know. This is a generic one-size-fits-all type of ending to the podcast. So thank you for listening, and please join Anna and Jimmy next time for another episode of the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you dare to go back and watch that movie you remember liking,